Once we remove these random ideas that we've learned about language learning that hold us back, we finally get the opportunity to make actual progress and make our language learning look the way that we want it to look. And I really want you to open your mind about all of these rules that you have set in your mind about what language learning looks like. Because I will admit, I am totally guilty of this in language learning and other aspects of life, where I take this rule and I follow it to a T, and I don't realize how much it's hurting me. For example, I definitely had the rule in my language learning where I had to have a Spanish conversation every single day. What really ended up happening was I was stressed out about language learning every single day, and sometimes I could get past that stress to have a conversation, but a lot of times I just had a panic attack and then canceled the call last minute. And not to mention, I was using a very expensive service to do this, which would have made sense if I was able to have those conversations every day. But because I was so stressed out about having those conversations every day, and I was adding that stress of making sure that my money was well spent, of course I burned myself out. I've also had a rule in the past where I had a Spanish textbook, and I had this idea in my head that I had to know every single thing in the textbook perfectly without thinking. So keep in mind, at this point I was at like an intermediate level. This was a beginner book. So these weren't things that I really had to review, but I had it in my head that if I reviewed them, it'd be better for me. I held myself back by focusing on that perfection, and every single time I made a mistake, I took it as a sign that I needed to study these beginner things more. And I can't even tell you how many times I tried to use a resource or a strategy that I hated and I did not want to do at all, but I ignored that because that wasn't important. What was important was that I had made a choice and I had to stick to it, and I had to do it perfectly to a T the way that I had set the expectation for myself. And 0% of those experiences ever resulted in anything positive.